modern insights, the bridge of mysticism and science. Even in his ancient wisdom, Zoran marveled at how modern mortals were rediscovering truths he had long held sacred. Through tools like biofield research and vibrational medicine, they were capturing glimpses of the once unseen currents of energy. Biofield science. Mortals use technologies like Kirlian photography to capture energetic patterns, providing visual evidence of the auric fields described in mystical traditions. Even in the age of steel and stars, Zoran remarked, humanity returns to its truth, the knowledge of energy, of light within light. Energy healing. Practices such as Reiki and therapeutic touch mirrored the dragon's own intuitive understanding of energy manipulation. Through these techniques, mortals restored harmony to their disrupted fields, echoing ancient teachings with modern hands. Your wisdom grows, Zoran said with a flick of his tail, but remember, it is not the tools that heal, it is the heart and intention behind them. Even the great worm's flame is kindled by the purity of purpose. A call to mortals at last, Zoran gazed toward the horizon, where dawn painted the sky in hues of gold and violet. His voice softened, carrying the weight of millennia and the gentleness of infinite understanding. Your aura is your story, written in waves of energy, he said, his breath mingling with the wind. Tend to it with care, for it reveals your strength, your dreams, your connection to all that has ever been and will ever be. And when the storms come, seek the quiet places within yourself. There, the light burns brightest. As his words faded, Zoran folded his wings, retreating into the sanctity of his crystalline sanctum. But his wisdom lingered, woven into the lives of the mortals who had strived to balance their energies and rise toward their infinite potential. The dance of the serpent, Kundalini's journey in a crystalline cavern brimming with the light of ancient wisdom. Zoran, the great worm whose wings spanned the void of time, lay coiled upon a bed of luminous stones. His golden eyes, glistening with the knowledge of countless epochs, narrowed as he turned his thoughts to the mortals and their untapped potential. From his perch of ageless insight, he began to speak, his voice a deep and resonant hum that echoed through the universe itself. The serpent sleeps at the base of your spine, Zoran mused, his breath stirring the mist of time, coiled in silence, waiting to ignite the stars within you. Few dare to wake it, but for those who do, the journey is nothing less than transcendence. The awakening of Kundalini's imagination stretched across dimensions as he envisioned the latent force known as Kundalini. This energy, depicted in mortal lore as a serpent coiled at the base of the spine, held unparalleled transformative power. For ages, it lay dormant, nestled in stillness, until the moment of awakening. The ascent through the chakras, the serpent uncoiled slowly, rising through the 7 spinning energy centers, the chakras. Zoran envisioned its ascent as a luminous thread weaving through the human form, igniting wisdom, clarity, and profound spiritual awareness. With each breath, the serpent climbs, Zoran said, its journey lighting fires of understanding and connection. What begins in stillness ends in infinite radiance. A cosmic union. At the crown chakra, Kundalini reached its zenith, dissolving the boundaries between the mortal self and universal consciousness. In this moment, the individual became one with the infinite, a fractal merging into the great cosmic pattern. Zoran's tone turned reverent as he added, "To awaken the serpent is to remember that you are not bound by earth alone. You are fire, sky, and stars." A symbol of transcendence, the rise of Kundalini mirrored the mortal journey from primal instincts to divine connection. For Zoran, it reflected the universal dance of creation and ascension, a dance he had witnessed countless times in civilizations long vanished. Growth and transcendence, the serpent's journey symbolized the evolution of the self, from the base instincts of survival to the highest realms of enlightenment. The path upward is not without pain, Zoran acknowledged, for to grow is to break the shell of what you were. A mirror of the cosmos, Zoran saw the serpent as a microcosm of universal energy, the spiraling galaxies mirrored in its movements, the cyclical renewal of existence in its rhythm. As above, so within, Zoran whispered. The serpent's journey reflects the stars, and the stars whisper the truths of your inner fire. The intersection of ancient wisdom and modern Thothran's musings shifted to the present, where mortals, with their curious blend of science and spirituality, sought to understand what their ancestors had instinctively known. Scientific exploration, fields like biofield science and quantum biology, now sought to measure the energy systems that ancient mystics had described. Researchers delved into the transformative potential of Kundalini, mapping its effects on creativity, emotional healing, and neurological insight. Zoran chuckled softly. Even now, with all your machines and measurements, you are merely rediscovering what the ancients knew in their bones. Holistic health, integrative practices combining breathwork, meditation, and yoga bridged the wisdom of the past with the methods of the present, offering mortals a deeper understanding of their own vitality. Zoran's golden eyes glinted. You're learning to balance fire with form, light with life. Practical alchemy, breath, ritual, and dietzarin shifted his wings, their crystalline edges catching the glow of unseen flames. His thoughts turned to the practices of ancient mystics who had unlocked the serpent's potential. Breath as the gateway, techniques like pranayama and Taoist breathing served as the key to awakening Kundalini. Through intentional breath, mortals bridged the physical and the metaphysical, drawing the serpent upward. Breath is the language of life, Zoran intoned. Speak it wisely, and you will awaken worlds within. Diet as the foundation, ancient alchemical diets, rich in natural, life-giving foods, purified the body and prepared it for transformation. Spices like turmeric stoked the inner fire, while cooling herbs brought balance. Zoran rumbled approvingly. Every bite is a prayer, every meal a ritual of alignment. Rituals of integration, chanting, visualization, and sacred symbols created harmony, aligning the practitioner with universal rhythms. Mystics often imagined the serpent's ascent, guiding its journey through the energy centers. To envision the serpent is to summon its strength, Zoran said. Dream it into being, and it will rise. Themes of vitality and connection. As Zoran's reflections deepened, he saw the Kundalini's awakening as a call to align with the rhythms of existence. This energy, both primal and transcendent, invited mortals to reconnect with their own innate divinity. You are the serpent and the flame, Zoran declared, his voice rising in power. Your journey is not to conquer, but to become light, breath, and boundless life. A call to awakeness. The cavern dimmed. Zoran's voice softened into a whisper that resonated in the hearts of those who listened. The serpent waits within you, coiled in silent patience. Wake it not with haste, but with reverence. Feed it with your breath, guide it with your will, and let it carry you to the summit of your being. For in its rise, you will find not only yourself, but the universe that lives within you. The alchemy of the future, Bryan Johnson's vision. The chamber was quiet, save for the low, rhythmic thrum of glowing instruments encased in glass and metal. Bryan Johnson stood at the center of the room, his gaze fixed on a series of luminous graphs projected into the air. It was a convergence of worlds, the ancient and the modern, intuition and precision. Around him, devices hummed softly, their data streams a symphony of life itself. Somewhere above, invisible to mortal eyes, Zoran the Great Worm watched, his cosmic presence coiling through the ether. He seeks to map the unseeable, Zoran rumbled, his deep voice resonating with curiosity and admiration. And though he holds no wings, he dares to fly into the unknown. Charting the invisible, the map of human energy Bryan moved through the chamber, adjusting a set of biometric sensors glowing softly on their mounts. These devices, no larger than a coin, were the tools with which he charted the invisible currents of human vitality. Using advanced imaging and neural tracking, he sought to visualize energy patterns akin to the ki and chakras described in ancient traditions. Science meets the mystical, as Bryan analyzed fluctuations in heart rate variability and neural activity. The subtle energy systems that mystics once intuited came into focus. He turned to the readings on the screen, marveling at their resemblance to the ancient maps of meridians and nadis. "I can see it now," Bryan murmured to himself. The flow of energy, the balance or imbalance so many ancient texts spoke of. Above, Zoran observed, his shimmering scales reflecting the patterns Bryan sought to understand. The dragon's ancient wisdom saw the harmony Bryan was chasing. "He translates the currents of life into numbers and waves," Zoran mused. "A noble pursuit, but one wonders, will the flame within the data burn as brightly as the truth it reflects?"